Sitting down here by the Oregon Trail. Thought maybe I'd tell a story about Fomar. I think the silent professional movement in our country has been pretty damaging. Guys come back from war and they don't tell stories. They keep it silent. They tuck it all in. So anyways, I'm out here by the Oregon Trail. As you can see, I think the Oregon Trail was right through here. It was somewhere right here. Kind of cool, but we moved out here when I was a youngster. It's nice. Love this creek out here in Wyoming. But yeah, Fomar. Fomar was a warrior, you know. And warriors go to war and warriors die. So, you know, I had my tears over Fomar, but I don't want to remember him like that forever. I'd rather remember him as the warrior that he was, you know. Because really back then, getting ready to go to war, we were all feeling in our prime, you know, like we were on top of the world. Don't get me wrong, I was at a crazy time in life and I had a really short fuse and I had a drinking problem and a lot of that, but we were warriors who were ready to get some, you know, and drinking, fighting Marines. And that's how Fomar and I met. They're chopping my head off there. That's how we met. I was on restriction for fighting. I wasn't supposed to be leaving the barracks. So of course I did. I was down at the beach drinking Jaeger. Came back to the barracks. To my knowledge, that was the first time I'd ever seen Fomar. Came walking down the catwalk, and I'm not sure what was being said before that. Must have been some kind of conversation. He didn't like me much, I guess, or something. Somebody was pissed at me. He snagged me up around the neck, you know. I got my chin barely tucked, and I got my hand in there just barely, and pulled it out and sunk my teeth into his arm, bit down on it till he let go. He got all pissed. I was like, dude, I'm not the one. Because everybody else might be scared of you, Granger, but I'll whoop your ass, you know? I remember him saying that clear as day. Like yesterday. And 17 years ago. He tried. We went down in the yard and got down. It worked out too well for him, and I messed him up bad, and he ended up with a finger in my face, you know, hand in my face, and one of them went in my mouth, and I bit down on it. I had hold of a finger, and I got the knuckle to separate. I was trying to bite his finger off, and I had a hold of his neck, and I was yanking back, trying to bite his finger off. Thought a finger would come off easier than that, but didn't. Thought it'd be like biting off a carrot. Nah, it's harder than that. In case you ever have to go bite off a finger, it can be difficult. Sharpen your teeth. It got broke up then. I went back to our rooms, and I just walked back to my room. I didn't see what they helped him up or something, you know. I didn't see much. And I knew he wasn't doing good though. I went over to his room about an hour later, and I think it maybe not quite that long. I said, hey man, I apologize. I could have done things different, you know. And he says, alright, well, I was in the head thinking about coming over to your room and stabbing you, but I guess I won't. I said, thank you. I appreciate that. And I did. And I still do. And I don't think he was bluffing. Stubborn Texan, you know. Proud Texan. He was probably gonna come stab me. So that's how we started. Rough start. Next morning, we're getting inspected. Platoon commander's like, stops in front of him. What happened to you? You look like Shrek. Oh, man. Yeah, that's how we started, dude. And then we ended in Iraq. Fighting the enemy, you know. It was high noon in the souk that day. Everybody knew we were getting for a gunfight. That's the way I remember it anyways. It was like the hair on the back of your neck was standing up. We knew going into the souk that it was hot. We broke down out of this building. We had gotten into it for Overwatch, and then we broke down. We went down in the street. All the garage doors are rolled down, which makes it so that the street is like it's like a cattle chute, you know. There's nowhere to hide. When all them doors are rolled down in a row, there's no cover. There's no nothing. Up above it, there's like, remember right, like balconies and windows, you know, like, I don't know if it was directly above us or just barely down past, like where Fulmar and I were. Anyways, we got ambushed, close ambush, machine gun fire. I looked to my left and I seen Fulmar go down. And I knew by the way he went down, I knew it wasn't good. I didn't know how bad, I knew it wasn't good. And then the Marines that are closer to the gunfire, they rushed towards me, you know, to go. They ended up going past me, probably to the doors behind me to go get cover, you know, and do whatever they're going to do, you know. As they're coming towards me, I'm watching all the tracers flying in between their bodies. They're tracers everywhere. I couldn't hardly believe what I was watching. Couldn't believe that none of them were getting hit. So I took my saw up high above my head like this and just started 3-round bursts, you know. 3, 4, 5, whatever. Just giving them bursts over top of their heads, and they're kind of crouched down running towards me. They went past and did what they did. I moved to my left out in the street towards Fulmar. Out like kind of in the middle of the street. The way I remember that. He was laying closer to the other edge, you know. So I was playing basically tracer tag with them. I'd try to keep their heads down, you know, trying to, I guess, draw the fire, keep their heads down, trying to kill them. But there's sunshades that hang over top of the roads over there, get covered in dust and everything, you know. As soon as some rounds go through a couple of those, it's super dusty, especially on the bottom side, you know, for me looking up. So I'm playing tracer tag, trying to look for, you know, just a silhouette of a head or anything peeking over, you know, just something to pop rounds at. But mostly I'm playing tracer tag through the dust and all that, dust and smoke and all that shit, you know. Just fog of war. Things are difficult. It's hard to explain how things go. Everything is happening so fast. It felt like I could grab a tracer out of the air, you know. My body was just so much adrenaline, you know. Major adrenaline dump. It was like I could picture things in freeze frame, you know. That sounds weird. Doesn't even hardly make sense, but that's the way I remember it. It looked like the tracers were coming at me and just kind of smoothly just going around me on both sides. like a cone going around me. Really, it was just all the tracers crisscrossing, I'm sure. And then the one thing that I had feared the most happened. I watched the end of my belt go right through my weapon, and I knew I was done, I was empty. So there I was. I'd already went through 200 rounds, and I knew I had to change drums, and I was in the middle of the street, no cover, still taking heavy machine gun fire. I'd trained for it because that was the one thing I was so scared of, was just being a coward, I'd rather be killed than have had to be a coward, That was a fear of mine. Took a knee, boom, 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 boom. Swapped out my drum, and it was done, changed, quick. I remember when I slapped down the cover and racked it, and I stood back up, and I ended up, popped off those first rounds, was back in the fight, Man, I just felt like such a big sense of relief that I wasn't a coward, And I was able to stay there with Fomar, At the time, I was still thinking that he made it, I don't know what I was thinking. That's just the way I felt, was like, the other Marines came, and some were right in there. They grabbed him, were pulling him into the building. I was just hoping he made it, and he didn't. Took a round right in the back of the neck. Yeah, so that's the way it went with Fomar. Badass Texan, badass Marine. He was just excited to get in the fight, He was. He was living it up. I feel if I would have died back then, I wouldn't want nobody to pity me, Just remember me. I just want to remember him. Maybe a few other people be able to remember him as well. Our country's lost a lot. Most of their stories never get told.